I won't be surprised if my man didn't propose yet. Yeah. And I'm coming to the wedding, Freeze. I'm your best man, boy. I thought about you this week.
So you know you're opening the door for me to speak back, right?
Of course, come on.
Uh-oh. Showdown.
Ice gets super sensitive on the Joe Budden podcast. In the last episode of the JBTV, Ice was upset. He got a little bit angry. And it all popped off when Flip started making fun of Ice's relationship. We all know Missing Piece is a sensitive sore subject for Ice. He doesn't like when people mention her. And Flip was mentioning how, is he getting married and all of this other stuff.
He about to give us
He had to find something.
a 5-minute monologue how he loves his girl and how he gonna do something nice. Watch it.
And Ice issued a warning. He said, if you want to play, we can all get ill. Warning Flip that he will go there. I think Ice is overreacting here, and it's like Protected by Vipers, stand back. I thought this was a podcast, and it just goes to show you that Ice remains the most sensitive member of the pod, even now. Many times people have told me that I was bullying Ice with my commentary. It's crazy how you can bully people with your commentary. But anyway, people were saying that I was taking it too hard on him, that I was making things way more bigger than they had to be. But I always felt this was the undertone of Ice's time on the show. He gets special treatment, so much so that Joe would say things like, Ice is a good guy. Ice has been there for me in my times of need. Everything except he was a good podcaster. And what you saw here was that play out. Joe would throw fuel on the fire by saying Ice got Flip backing down.
Damn, Ice backed you down that fast? You did.
No,
Damn.
I said say something. No, you stopped.
And he said, yo, you opening the door.
I said,
and boy.
Now, is that really fair, considering that Joe Budden is the person that is always protecting Ice, and he dogpiles on everyone else? Imagine you on the podcast, people dogpile on you constantly, but then the moment you say something about Ice, here comes Joe, Captain Save a Beam Mike, to either add support or to make your joke seem unfounded. Not really fair, because Joe Budden has made a career off of making the people around him feel uncomfortable. But when it comes to Ice, you can't really go there. And I don't think it's the right thing, especially for a show that thrives off of making people feel insecure. And the most insecure person gets to escape. Not even fair that Flip, as a result of his past transgressions, can't even really go at Ice. He has to stay quiet. That's one of the critiques the Joe Budden podcast has levied against Flip, that, hey, you mess up the chemistry. You don't allow people to work together in conjunction. It isn't right. So then Flip now has to just shut up and play it cool. And as you can see, the suspension, the demotion, it's working on Flip. You got Flip acting mad meager, acting mad quiet, acting a little bit off-put. So I can't believe seeing Flip like this. This ain't the Flip that I'm used to, man. This is wild. Flip acting like that kid who don't want to fail class. Like the teacher just told him, one more mistake, buddy, and you're going to fail this class and go to summer school. That's how Flip is moving right now. Another moment would pop off when Flip tells the podcast to leave Ice alone. Now here, Flip was actually trying to be cool, but Ice felt as if Flip was, kind of nudging at him and trying to belittle him by saying, yo, get up off of Ice.
Burgers or some shit.
50 million burgers daily.
Leave Freeze alone, nigga.
Oh, my God.
You ain't got to defend me, my nigga. I'm cool. Don't tell niggas leave Freeze alone. If they want to joke, let them joke.
That's right.
Got your thick skin.
Only Joe can do that in Ice's mind. So I guess the reason he did that was because that is a way to insult people. And that is the way that Flip likes to play mind games. But time will tell if Flip eventually snaps on Ice or snaps on anyone. That moment between him and Mark was so consequential, because now both men are on the show afraid to get back into another situation. And that's another tangent I want to go on. Why does Mark treat Ice so kindly? He barely goes in on him. And when I sat down with him, he had an excuse for why he didn't.
Ice. You don't really go at Ice.
I'm more of a return fire kind of guy.
Okay.
Ice doesn't shoot a lot. I don't go at Parks either. Parks doesn't shoot a lot.
You felt Melissa Ford shot a lot?
No. But that's the way the jokes flow. So when the joke flows toward Ice, I make it like we made the joke the other day about the gym.
Yeah.
because the joke flowed that way.
Yeah.
Fewer jokes flow his way.
Now, that thing made no sense to me because he says the jokes don't flow towards Ice. My opinion is that Mark is a cold office tactician. He already took a snapshot of the office environment, in this case, the Joe Budden podcast, and said, all right, Joe's not making fun of Ice, so I'm going to leave it alone because I don't want to anger the boss. And whatever the boss wants, I'm going to make it seem cool. Because as far as I see it, Mark Lamont himself has gone on record saying that he's a dick, he's an asshole, and he doesn't mind making these types of jokes. So why aren't you making those types of jokes towards Ice? There has to be a reason, and this goes into my theory that Mark Lamont is a cold office tactician, a backroom Nancy, the type of guy that will move different. This guy has, you saw the commercial, man. It's basically the Mark Lamont Hill show. It's wild out here, man. We're going to talk about the commercial in another video. Then Ice, a little bit later into the episode, this isn't so much to do with Flip, but it shows kind of Ice's wherewithal or awareness. They start talking about bonuses, and Joe says that he gave all of the cast members a bonus like every year. Ice calls it out and says, no, you did it. You did not give us a bonus one year.
You know y'all have gotten a holiday bonus every year that y'all have worked here.
Appreciate it.
Yes. Just for the record.
Yeah.
I know we paint me as evil.
not true.
No, I've got one every year.
That's also not true.
Well, not for you, Free.
Well, it's not true.
Which his statement.
How many years you didn't get one?
One.
Well, yeah, I'll live with that.
And I couldn't help but think, oh man, you must have been real ass that year, which is why you didn't get a bonus. And I got to think like the year they didn't get a bonus is before Flip and Melissa Ford was there. Because them brothers, they was ass. They was a certain type of ass. I know a lot of people miss the Ish and Ice era, but to me that represents the worst era of the pod. So bad was it that Joe would bring in two people, and it was relatively short-lived. It was like 2 years, and throughout that time, Joe became immediately frustrated. I remember those episodes. I really might one day just go look back on those episodes and show you how frustrated Joe was with Ish and Ice. Now, I want to end this video by re-engineering some of the talking points that I've made in the beginning of this. Ice still remains the boy in the plastic bubble. You can't talk about him. He can make jokes, and then he can even act like he's not sensitive or that he's getting better. And I know this has to hurt other cast members. I know Emmanuel be like, damn, I can't even really go in on him. I know Melissa Ford, when she was there, like, yo, why does Ice get all this special treatment? And a lot of people be saying, yo, Ice don't be joking on nobody. That's not true. Ice do be shooting. He's part of the dog pilers. And I think it's unfair, man. Flip can't even go crazy up there anymore. He's on thin ice, no pun intended. It's messed up. It's not right. But let me know what you think. Do you guys feel like Ice is cool? Are you okay with him not being cool with the jokes? Man, I tell you, the internet is such that any type of community will be formed. By that I mean, I never thought I would see the day where there would be an ice hive. And there's literally an ice hive. There's a bunch of people out there that coalesce around Ice to defend them against mild podcast critiques. It would be like if somebody was a fan of the Thunder and they're like, Reggie Jackson's my favorite player. Remember when they had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and Reggie Jackson? That is, Ice is Reggie Jackson. And if you critique his play, you have Reggie Jackson, a.k.a. Ice Hive, come at you. I don't think it's right. We used to be a proper country. When I started my channel 4 years ago, I used to be able to get my takes off on Ice. And now I can't get my takes off on Ice because people compare Ice's mediocrity to the lowest lows of the other podcast members. But they don't acknowledge the high highs that Imani, Ish, and even Melissa Ford, Flip give the show. I don't think it's cool. And that's why you saw he wasn't really highlighted in that commercial, which we will do an episode about. But let me know what you think. I know I said that before. I just went on a wild diversion. I think this episode was good. I believe that the podcast is doing well. I wouldn't say that it's exceeding expectations because now what you have is two podcasts in one. You have the Wednesday Flip Pod, and then you have the Friday Mona Pod. Doesn't allow for much continuity because I think it's like basically you trying to find chemistry on two teams. You got the A side pod and you got the B side pod. It is telling that Flip is on the A side pod because the A side pod has always been Wednesday. I call that the A side pod because that was the original day they used to broadcast, in the middle of the week at least. But we'll be back with another video real soon. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, The Stop TV. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, The Stop TV. We'll be back spacing. And Patreon, The Stop TV. That is where a lot of content exists. I have over 300 pieces of content that I've amassed. A bunch of videos, audio that doesn't exist on YouTube. So YouTube is where a lot of my content goes, but I've made a conscious effort to only put exclusive stuff on my Patreon because I feel like you got to develop different ecosystems. And even though this ecosystem overlaps a lot with the Patreon, there's a lot of different stuff there, and I think you'll really enjoy it. All right, y'all, this is Danny from The Stop. Peace.